good question as we're going to be heading in.
For OG Seed, it's not something, pretty much everything that they had at it, and you still have stuff like the Omega Hurricane that's about to be involved. It's a good grab, actually, getting up to two of the enemies, two of the Vanguards spat out into the flame. It means that Rsomnia are actually turning this around. Equal ultimates dedicated, and even Frost Mountain has decided to pull out that Omega Hurricane after those Vanguards went down, and also whilst your other duelist has been taken down too.
Frostmountain forced to flee because Twitzy pulled the perfect trigger. The Omega Hurricane was so much targeting onto their front line that they knew there was nothing defensive. A convincing hold there by Rsomnia. OG just unable to find an opening. We're going to be heading to Frozen Airfield as the next setup, but already we're starting to see Rsomnia GG show what they are made of. Looking at the statistics here, so far, Passivo, someone who's constantly diving in, and Twitzy, someone who has to dive in if they want to blast a barrage, haven't gone down yet.
And for Passivo, that's just managed to hit across laterally, mostly keeping those players from OGC awkwardly positioned, but the fate of both worlds is going to allow them to sort of waterfall down, try to contest this point, make sure that Rsomnia don't get it, but it is just a case of Twitzy waiting for that ultimate to end before the Galactic Legend comes through.
Galactic Legend is going into the backline, but everyone is completely grouped up. They're not finding any finishing blows.
Second point. It's a little bit weird for Rsomnia. It just seems to be two things happening at different times and not quite lining up with each other. But Frost Mountain switching over towards the Star-Lord, trying to see if he could do a bit of a Twitzy cosplay. The rest of the team's able to clear up, and now this is getting towards 70% on this second point.
This is just dominant back and forth. Neither of these teams seems to be able to reclaim a point once the other has control. The defenses for both of them are so solid, so now it's all about
Hell's Heaven 2-0. Any fight won for OGC brings us to that third point.
Twitzy's on the flank looking to try and do some damage, maybe a blast barrage through the enemy team to get back to their own. Very low ground here. Just be careful not to get caught out. If OGC want to try and reclaim this point, Twitzy gets caught out. Already sent back to Spawner here as Nocta, keeping the team topped up. Make sure they're safe, but already OGC a great
from forever. That sign of seduction gets so much value.
But now the Eternal Bond has been burned because while Frost Mountain is down, now they knows that they have to contest this because we're approaching that 100 line throw, moves over to Strange so they can reinforce and get everyone back to the point. Same from Abuhu, portaling everyone back in. It's all on this last final fight now as Twitzy takes out Frost Mountain for the second time. Cannot maintain, and Rsomnia are able to take game number one.
Yeah, Frost Mountain didn't hear no better.
Well, if you really want to maximize revival.
But when you've got flying targets that can just get over the wall, it's not going to matter. But also, you're still losing out numbers. Young Amplifier feels a bit of a desperate play to gain control of this, but the Hand of Contra is going to send it straight back to its own form of spawn, I guess it would be.
Little Boundary going to be coming in, straggling present for the turnaround, trapping him against the wall. Frost Mountain. Roots exchanging branches at each other, branching blows, pulled in with the false physics. Passive going to be causing a little bit of a distraction into the back line, but the group walls are blocking out a lot of the shots. Media Rem with fade of both worlds on both sides. Omega Hurricane try and weaken them to set up for any DPS, but the healing output is just too much for both these teams. But finally, Rsomnia outlast the healing, able to grab a double, triple. KQ is in full retreat, Lapsus falls, they go down, and it's a full routing.
I've got your back.
Able to sort of make OG Seed reset. You have got KQ to still on that Moon Knight. They could switch off, but he has got his ultimate, so that might be enough of a reason to want to stay on. And this fight has gone very well for them in the end. Hand of Contra was used from KQ. Nothing to follow up. Pretty much a full team wipe for Rsomnia to claim here. 20 seconds left.
Right. Yeah, only 20 seconds left, and we're not exactly used to seeing OG Seed switch up to stuff like a Venom or someone like that, or a Captain America, someone who can run in and touch the points. And the question is, what's the choice? It's gonna be Storm. They have to Omega Hurricane in order to touch the point, but that bonus health is buying them a little bit more time. Here comes that Phoenix, but the rest of the team has to step up. Storm cannot hold this alone. They've already lost KQ. Lapsus with the
turnaround. I think for Rsomnia, that first part of the first point just wasn't really going their way. They were losing so many players and buying time, sure, but team high ground, and it's sort of the same as what we just saw, like just neutral pot shot fighting, able to take out the Vanguards, and that Bureau back is the only thing to really rely on into getting back into these fights quickly. It's already used up from Frost Mountain.
Nocta already is built up on the hand and can't shoot directly into the building where everyone is set up. But the quick retreat, OG Seed able to sidestep it. But you can afford to do that with Moon Knight because you build up ultimates. Getting caught from behind, Omega Hurricane, but Twinsie realizes that that is not going to work. Forced to retreat. Is dropped by Frost Mountain. That is a great use of the Psychic Spin to try and set up the Silent Seduction to zone everyone else off the point. The invisible boundary that was keeping everyone sustained as OG Seed are going in, trying to capitalize and get something onto the board, some kind of advantage. Fist of Khonshu onto the point though is keeping everyone zoned back behind the walls, meaning the cart is getting very few bodies on it. They're catching O's. Just such an insane performance here, utilizing that Moon Knight to great effect. The pressure that Passimo has been offering, you said it exactly. They are playing so well. The fact that Insomnia went into stage 1 and they brought out Hulk, they brought out the Thing a little bit, they brought out a little bit of Ember, a little bit of Mag, but not a lot. They had like 2 or 3 plays that they really leaned to, and then they really seemed to struggle if they were forced off of that. They have cooked so much in between the seasons.
In players like Twitzy, it gives you a lot more like offensive capabilities, sure, but also Line Pro is a more experienced strategist in your backline to
Paradox. Not dropping a single